Right then, please listen up. What is the exact market value of a daughter's sacrifice? In the rice fields of Isaan, a failed harvest is not just a tragedy. It is a mathematical certainty that leads directly to the neon lights of Patpong. Forget the romanticised stories you have heard about chasing big city dreams. I am stripping away the myths to reveal the brutal ledger that sustains rural Thailand. From interest rates on tractor loans to the price of a bar stool, this is the cold, hard arithmetic of survival for the Isaan heartland. Today, we are crunching the numbers on the debt and the duty that fueled Thailand's urban migration. And I warn you, the answer is not pretty. Let me ask you a question. What do you think a daughter is worth? No, do not give me that look. I am not being philosophical. I am not being sentimental. I am being mathematical. In the villages of Isaan, a daughter's worth is not measured in love or family pride. It is measured in baht. It is measured in interest rates, monthly remittances, and the cold, hard cost of survival. You see, out here in the rice paddies, we are not living in a postcard. We are living in a spreadsheet. Besides, the numbers, my friends, are not adding up. Let us start with the basics. Rice farming in Isaan has never been what you would call a gold mine. However, in 2026, it has become a mathematical impossibility. I have been watching the weather patterns for years now, and let me tell you, they are not cooperating. The monsoon season used to be reliable. You could set your watch by it. However, climate change has thrown a spanner in the works. The rains come late, or they come too early, or they do not come at all. Besides, when they do come, they arrive with the fury of a jilted lover, flooding the paddies and destroying what little crop managed to survive. The numbers are brutal. A typical Isaan farming family owns about 10 rai of land, which is roughly 1.6 hectares for those of you keeping score at home. In a good year, that might produce about 3,000 kilograms of jasmine rice. At current market prices, and they have been plummeting, I will have you know that is maybe 40 to 50,000 baht. For an entire year's work, that is about £900 or $1,100 for a family of 4 or 5. Now, let us talk about costs. The tractor alone, because nobody can afford to buy one outright, is about 8,000 baht a month. Fertilizer and pesticides, another 5,000. Seed, rice, water pumps, fuel for the irrigation system, it all adds up. By the time the harvest comes in, the family is already in debt before the first grain is sold. The average farming family in Isaan carries about 150,000 to 200,000 baht in debt, roughly £3,500 to £4,500. That is the equivalent of 3 or 4 years of farming income. What is more, the interest on those village loans, predatory, does not even begin to cover it. We are talking 20 to 30% annual interest, sometimes more if the lender is feeling particularly mercenary. Here is the breaking point. When your annual income is 50,000 baht and your annual debt servicing is 60,000 baht, you are not a farmer anymore. You are a debt slave working a rice paddy. The mathematics are simple. Agriculture stops being a livelihood the moment it becomes a negative equity. Besides, that moment for most Isaan families came about 5 years ago. So what happens when the rice cannot pay the bills? You leave, simple as that. You pack a bag, take a bus and head to Bangkok. The migration path from the quiet northeast to the capital is well worn. It is a journey of about 500 or 600 kilometers, and it is taken by hundreds of thousands of young people every year. They leave behind the rice paddies, the water buffalo, the sticky rice, and the grandmothers who will spend the next decade waiting for a phone call. The physical migration is one thing, the financial migration is another. In Isaan, the daily minimum wage is about 330 baht, that is roughly £7.50. In Bangkok, it is closer to 370 baht, about £8.40. A difference of 40 baht a day. It does not sound like much, does it? However, when you are servicing a debt that grows faster than rice can grow, every baht matters. The problem is that even that difference is not enough. The average factory worker in Bangkok, assuming they can find a factory job, which is increasingly difficult, earns maybe 12,000 to 15,000 baht a month. That is 280 to 350 pounds. In a city where a tiny room in a slum costs 3,000 baht a month and food costs another 4,000, you are left with maybe 5,000 baht to send home. It is something, but it is not enough to clear the family debt. The real money, the money that actually changes things, comes from somewhere else. Let us do some arithmetic. I know you are probably uncomfortable with where this is heading, but let us be honest with ourselves. We are adults here and the numbers do not lie. A bar worker in Patpong, and I'm going to be deliberately vague here because the details are, shall we say, delicate, earns in a month what a rice farmer earns in a year. Let me be specific. A typical bar worker in the entertainment districts might make 30,000 to 50,000 baht a month just in base salary and commissions. That is 700 to 1,100 pounds. However, that is not where the real money is. The real money is in the bar fines. When a customer wants to take a worker out of the bar, there is a fee. The fee ranges from 500 to 1,500 baht and it goes to the bar. The worker does not see that. However, what the worker does see is the tip. Besides, that tip can range anywhere from 1,000 to 10,000 baht per customer. Now, I am not going to get into the details of what happens after the bar fine. The point is that the earnings are exponentially higher than anything that is available in the agricultural sector. A young woman working in Patpong can easily send 20 to 30,000 baht home every month. That is 450 to 700 pounds. In a good month, double that. Let us compare. A rice farmer earns 50,000 baht a year. A bar worker earns 30,000 baht a month. Do the maths. One daughter sustains an entire multi-generational household. She pays the school fees for her siblings. She covers the mother's medical bills. She buys the new roof. She pays off the father's tractor loan. She is, in every practical sense, the family bank. Nevertheless, here is where the ledger gets complicated. There are hidden costs. Urban rent in Bangkok for a tiny room, and I mean tiny, the kind where you can touch both walls at the same time, is at least 3,000 baht a month. Food is another 4,000. Transport, utilities, the safety tax, the bribes to the police who look the other way, all of it adds up. Then there is the emotional toll that never appears on the balance sheet. You cannot quantify the feeling of being stared at, judged and whispered about. You cannot calculate the cost of having your mother refuse to meet your eyes during the rare visits home. There is no column for that in the accounting. So, where does the money go? Let us track the flow. The remittances arrive every month like clockwork. They come via bank transfer, sometimes in cash, sometimes in gold. They are the lifeblood of the village economy. The first I get that out in a minute. The first priority is always debt. The village loan is paid, then the medical bills, then the school fees. Then, if there is any left, the family might build a new concrete house or buy a pickup truck or install a satellite dish. This is where the hypocrisy kicks in, is it not? The same village that whispers about the shameful daughter is the first to notice the new roof she paid for. The same artists who tut about the sins of the flesh are the ones asking for a loan from her family when their own crops fail. The rural Thai economy is now structurally dependent on what I will politely call shadow remittances. If the bar workers of Bangkok suddenly stopped sending money home, the Isaan village would collapse within months. The noodle shops would close, the temple renovations would stop, the school would lose its funding. You see, the state is not going to save them. The agricultural subsidies, such as they are, never reach the people who actually need them. The 2026 socio-economic policies continue to favour urban development, the tourism sector and the manufacturing hubs. The rural heartland is treated like an afterthought, a picturesque backdrop for tourist photos. The sin taxes, the taxes on alcohol, tobacco and entertainment, fund a significant portion of the national budget. Besides, where does that money come from? Largely from the same industry that everyone pretends does not exist. Now, let us talk about the future, because the numbers do not stop with this generation. The intergenerational pressure is immense. The children inherit their parents' debts and they inherit the expectation. The daughter who sends money home is not just paying off her parents' failed harvest, she is setting a precedent for the younger siblings. She is creating a cycle. The younger sister watches the older sister leave for Bangkok. She sees the money come in. She sees the new house. She learns quite logically that the only viable economic pathway out of poverty is the same one her sister took. It is not a choice, it is an inheritance. The 26 socio-economic policies have not changed this. The infrastructure in Isaan is still crumbling. The educational opportunities are still limited. The jobs are still scarce. The debt is still crushing. The ultimate human cost of this arithmetic is simple. The survival of the home requires the sacrifice of the individual. The family survives because the daughter is sacrificed. The village continues because the young women leave. Let me tell you a story. A few months ago, I was having a beer in a little village bar, the kind of place that serves one type of beer and does not bother with a menu. I got talking to an old man, a retired rice farmer with hands like leather and a face like a crumpled map. He told me about his daughter. She had gone to Bangkok 15 years ago, worked in the bar, sent money home every month, built him a new house and paid off his debts. He was very proud of her, he said, very proud. I asked him what she did in Bangkok. He looked at me with an expression that was equal parts shame and defiance. She's an accountant, he said, works in a big office, very successful. I did not argue. I just nodded and finished my beer. He knew, I knew, the whole village knew. Nevertheless, we all played along because the house she built was right there, solid as a rock, paid for by her sacrifice. The moral of the story. People will believe whatever they need to believe to survive. Besides, sometimes the accountant is the one who keeps the books on a different kind of ledger entirely. So, what is the conclusion? What is the bottom line of this brutal arithmetic? The numbers are clear. The rice fields do not pay. The village debt does not disappear. The city demands its tribute, and the daughters, the invisible bankers, pay the price. Nevertheless, here is the thing about numbers. They can be challenged. They can be changed. The daughters of Isaan are not victims. They are survivors. They are investors, bankers, and providers. They have done what their government could not do. They have kept their families alive. The real shame is not in what they do. The real shame is in a society that forces them to do it and then pretends they do not exist. The real tragedy is not the arithmetic of the nightlife economy. It is the arithmetic of the agricultural economy that makes the nightlife economy the only viable option. I will leave you with this. The next time you see a shiny new pickup truck in an Isaan village, look closer. The paint job might be new, but the story is old. It is a story written in debt, duty, and the quiet strength of daughters who refuse to let their families drown. They call it sacrifice. I call it mathematics. Besides, the maths is very, very clear. All right, I have done my sums. Now I want to hear yours. Have you done the math on your own family survival? Drop a comment below and tell me how it works in your village. On top of that, if you have made it this far, give that like button a tap and subscribe. It helps me keep the lights on and the coffee flowing. Stay safe. Bye-bye.